Welcome to the Southeast Jerusalem podcast with your host, Neil Kummer. Our mission is to provide actionable strategies, information, and inspiration for living in Israel, featuring interviews with some of the extraordinary people who live here.
That includes our guest today, Ronny Vance. I'm very excited to have you here with us, Ronny. Thank you so much for coming.
See, I'm very excited myself.
Yeah. Your remarkable accomplishments precede you, and more importantly, your solid reputation of being a really nice guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So at 34, you were president of Geffen Music for like 5 years, and Interscope Music, and you signed or placed music with scores of the most important songwriters, singers, and musicians in North American popular music. To name just a very few, Stephen Sondheim, Michael Jackson, Rod Stewart, Leonard Cohen, and Eric Clapton. You're also a serial entrepreneur, have a recent project called MyPart.net, which uses AI to match songwriters and executives in the creative industries. And not to mention your recent podcast, Give Vance a Chance. It's on Spotify.
I'm sort of shocked that you know.
I know all of it. It's just amazing.
Amazing.
The research that I do
Yeah.
about your job. So was this an early ambition, or is this something you came to or were pushed into by spirits?
Okay, so quite simply, I have an older brother who was a bit of a pop star, pardon me, in the 60s, under the name of Jay and the Americans. And he's 11 years older, so I was really a little guy when that, I was maybe 10 when they had their first hit in 1961. It was always around, and I couldn't imagine having a proper job growing up that was not somehow or other connected to music.
Yeah.
And so I became a bit of a musician, and I became a bit of a songwriter, and a bit of this and a bit of that. And I quickly discovered, probably by the time I was 18 or 19, that I wasn't good enough. In my own opinion.
In your own opinion.
In my own opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
Why would I say that? Because I was around so much talent at that time. They were brilliant. Many of them were so talented and starving. Right. And I knew that I did not have what it took to be the starving artist. It just was not part of my makeup. And of course, it was an amazing discovery to see that there was such a thing called music publishing and song rights and working with artists, and that there was this whole machine behind the talent. And I went, oh, well, I could do that.
This is before the day when people could just go on YouTube and publish their own things. But unless they had you to promote them, nobody would hear them, right?
When you're in it, you don't, I'm not taking credit and thinking that I'm any hot stuff of any kind. It's still a 9-to-5er. It's just the good news is that it's all about music and not...
Yeah. Well, and I even said in one of your podcasts, you said that it's a 9-to-5er, but then you turn off the phones and listen to the music after 5.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah, that's what you used to do.
I was a kind of a meat and potatoes music guy that, got to work early in the morning and stayed late at night.
Okay,
And it was a job, and it was a job that I loved deeply.
Yeah.
And guys like Mr. Geffen, for instance, just to give you an idea. I mean, here's a guy who's got hit Broadway shows, hit gigantic movies, an unbelievably successful record company, and I'm running his music publishing company, which is, for him, not sexy, not glamorous, not anything cool at all. If I said to him, I go into his office and say, David, it's unbelievable. Phoebe Snow just recorded one of the songs that we own. It's like, okay, well, that's great, Ronny. Have a nice day. It just for those guys,
for those people,
for those guys that are on a very, very high madrega.
Okay,
I think that the part of the business that I was in was just not sexy.
Okay,
which is why this plug, but this is why MyPart is actually a very valuable tool. And I think about the amount of days, months, hours, years of music that I listened to that was totally irrelevant. That's where MyPart sort of comes in and says, you don't really need to listen to this. You can if you like, but listen to this first.
So for now, you're a shadchan between people who generate the poetry and the music and people who use the poetry and the music and to monetize.
With MyPart, totally.
Yeah.
That's exactly, for starters, we decided that we were going to be a B2B company. And so subsequently we've onboarded Paul McCartney's company and MPL, and we've onboarded several divisions at Universal and a brand new startup, which is a several billion-dollar company called Hypnosis. So it's good so far. It's starting off really good. But in order to really attract the world of 70 million songwriters,
wow, and growing.
So this is the ultimate audience. If I was a young kid and I was a songwriter and I saw who are these guys? They want me to send them my songs and give them $5. Why would I do that? And if they see that, that Paul McCartney and Hypnosis and Universal, it's like, okay, they're the real thing.
Okay, but let's just say it in a part of a sense of you decided to move from, you were living in LA? Yeah, so you decided to move from LA to Jerusalem. You came right off to the old city, which is
it's all about girls, Neil.
It's all about. I've heard that, and I don't believe it for a minute.
You meet a girl.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
You fall in love. You lose your mind, and then you follow her wherever, and that's basically what happened.
Wow! But you suck it out also.
I would never have left here in a heartbeat, and then I hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
I hit the jackpot, and my son was born in 2003, and I'm a Jewish success story. It's just off the charts. I got, everybody said, oh, you must have davened real hard for him. I said, davened? I was begging the Kadosh Baruch Hu, begging. So, I don't want to, anybody going to bust a tear here or something?
No, a swelled head. You don't want to get a swelled head.
He knows the story, but that's the reality.
Did you find anything particularly challenging?
I do every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. First of all, I don't speak the language. And I've tried several times, but I don't speak the language. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
That's a challenge to live in a country where luckily, of course, it's bilingual. And, here we all are. We're all English speakers.
Yeah.
But that's a challenge.
Yeah.
I'm an old Charles Bukowski fan. I don't know if anybody here is a Bukowski fan. But I got to say, I miss some of that old-time action. I'm making a record I'm making a gospel record right now with several different artists that are involved.
Wow!
So I'm trying to
in America,
here.
Oh, here.
Yeah, no. Everything is here.
Wow!
So
when you say gospel, do you mean like Nechama?
No, not Neshama Carlbach. Not even close.
Not that. Okay.
Not that at all. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you. Would you like to hear a quick story?
Yeah.
Here's a real story. But Sala will also like this, I believe. I have loved this it's the Sam Cooke records before Sam Cooke started to have hits in the 60s. He made gospel records under the name of the Soul Stirrers. I used to listen to this music when I was 7 or 8 years old. We had a housekeeper growing up, and I would sit in her room at night and help her write letters, and she'd have on the gospel hour or whatever she was listening to, and it touched me very, very deeply to this day that I decided that I'm going to try to figure out and find people to help me make this record. However, I didn't know if it was kosher. I didn't know if a Rav would,
permit it. Yeah,
exactly. So one day, about 6 or 7 years ago, in the row that I sit in at the Tzemach Tzedek, the Chabad Shul in the Old City, was the beloved Rabbi Steinsaltz, and we shared a bench for almost 20 years. And I had a very healthy fear of him. He wasn't my buddy. But he was somebody I had gone to several times over the years, and everything that he had ever said to me or advised me on with my wife was totally right on. So I said to the Rav, I said, I want to make a record. I want it to almost sound like an old-fashioned gospel record, but of course there'll be no mention of J in any of these records. It's only about, G. So I said, is it Asur? Is it can you? He looked at me, and these were the words that he said to me. He said, "You must make this record."
Oh,
I mean, it's about tshuva. I mean, I'll give you one of the songs that to me is like the centerpiece of this project is a song called "Let's Go Back to God," which is obviously a song about tshuva. And the original recording is by the Soul Stirrers, which features Sam Cooke. If somebody went to Spotify, they could listen to that and say, "Oh, I like it. I don't like it." My son is not so sure. But he's also a big fan, and he also gets what gospel music is. And we have not clashing tastes, but different.
Complementary.
Yeah.
Okay.
What have you experienced personally that you might want to share to people wanting to do Aliyah?
It's different for everybody. It's just got to be. Answer what Ariel was saying in terms of giving advice. When you're in love, not just with a woman or your wife, but also the idea that you can be in a place that's somehow somewhere over the... Who are the writers of Somewhere Over the Rainbow that wrote it when they were in the camps? And they saw the ashes, Cantor and Ebb,
is that
right?
true?
I'm pretty sure the story of Somewhere Over the Rainbow was written from the perspective of like knowing that some way I wish upon it and wake up when the chimney top and the chimney tops were knocking out all the ashes of
cohorts.
And the place that was Somewhere Over the Rainbow was here. I'm pretty sure that's the muse, the original inspiration for that song, I think.
Wow.
I'm sure I've read that. And
amazing.
So how does it apply to me? I just remember the first time, way before I made Aliyah, about a good 10 plus years earlier, I came here and when I landed at the airport, I said to the taxi driver, Jerusalem. And you get in the taxi and you start, and I could read Hebrew. I couldn't speak it, but I could read it pretty good. And I start seeing all these signs that say Yerushalayim. And I don't know if that's for everybody. It certainly is for me to have this place over the rainbow that you thought of. And we weren't religious. I didn't grow up even mildly religious. However, there was something about Yerushalayim, which is like on every other page or so, whether you're davening or wherever it is, that was profound for me. So I don't know that I'm really qualified, Ariel, to give, anybody advice. I don't think I am.
Do you not have Jewish lineage that you know about?
Not really, no. My wife has a big family here. I have no one. I have no one. Like for many other people, it could have ended. And they'd say, I made Aliyah, I gave it a crack, I don't like it, I didn't work out, and good afternoon. And they leave. That, God forbid, that could have happened.
I had a customer tell me this week, he said he's been thinking about Aliyah since they were married, because that's how he chose his wife, that a a woman who'd be willing to make Aliyah. And he has little kids, so he says he felt like he was in timeout. And now the timeout is over, and he can come back into the world, this being the world. So
that's good.
For many people, it's challenging. It's a culture shift. For some people, it's an economic shift. So it can be challenging, but some people are looking for challenges. They feel.
And Neil, what do you get for all these challenges? What do you think is the rewards or the benefits of being a Jew living in Israel?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I've asked people, and I'd like to pursue that line of questioning with different rabbis as to whether it's a chiyuv, whether it's a mitzvah, whether it's any sort of requirement, Jewish requirement, and there are different answers, and there's also strange answers about. I hate to say it, but I will, about suffering. They say, people who've told me that, I don't know how they found this out, but, from Olam Haba, when people go into the other world, they're basically kind of in a static place. They can't really do too much because they don't have a body. But one thing they can do is remember green stamps? Used to get at the gas stations in America. Yes. So they have a stock of green stamps, which they collected from mitzvot, from good deeds, and from suffering, as if suffering gives a certain quality and qualification for possession.
Yeah,
it's
this is such a tough subject. It's such a tough subject because I was telling a beautiful rabbi not that long ago how I was actually suffering about something that was going on at work, and he went, "Oh," he says, "this is good." He says, "You'll get more olam haba for it," and I went, "Oh, Simcha, leave me alone." It's like, But that's what but he really believes it. I mean, he's the real business.
Yeah,
he's the real thing. He said, "You're suffering more.
More credit to you. Yeah,
more credit in olam haba."
Yeah. So, do you have a clue what would drive Aliyah? I mean, now America, a lot of my potential customers say that America is like self-destructing and, it's a house divided against itself. And I don't want to profit from their misfortune, but it does seem that there are incredible divisions, which nobody is making any effort to bridge, or not conspicuously, at least.
I don't have the most popular opinion about this stuff.
That's okay.
Because I especially maybe my wife and a lot of her chevra and other people, they just think like America's over. You hear this,
the end of the empire.
It's this is over and that's over.
Yeah.
Everything is over.
Jaffa used to say
you're not going to be able to get your money. Rabbi Kahana, who's the beloved Nachman Kahana, who we were crazy about, and who's a brilliant. And I get his Torahs every week. I don't know if he
brings us good scotch.
Huh?
Jaffa used to tell me that.
That's right. Scotch. That's exactly.
But
right.
I don't see his Torahs now.
But his Torahs are all about time is running out. In Chutz La'aretz, and he's not kidding. He's not kidding. It's not just a popular slogan like, get your money out. And you saw what happened with the dollar. The dollar went from like 2.9 back to 3.5 again.
Yeah.
So again, my opinion is, I don't know, Chalila, maybe I'm one of those guys that say, everybody's going to say, well, we told you so. I'm already here.
Right.
I already made, but no, I didn't agree and I didn't feel right. But I have two older brothers. We have a big family. Not only aren't they going to make Aliyah, it's not even on their radar. They're just not.
Yeah, for sure.
And okay. And I get it. I get it, but Rabbi Kahana and many others like him aren't okay with that.
Well, even leaving Egypt and leaving Babylon to go back to Israel, and and all these examples, it was always 20% that left, that went back.
Right.
So
that's right.
It's 20% is still, I don't know, over 1 million people.
I mean, look at Lubavitch. The Rebbe has always, put his foot down with many people who would go to him and ask for a bracha to make aliyah. And in some cases, he would say bracha v'hatzlacha.
Yes.
And in many other cases, he would say, make Philadelphia Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
Make Marrakesh Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah.
Wherever they were.
Okay.
And he'd say, that's what he would do.
Yeah, but he had a special, and he still has a special mission that only he could fulfill, and only the Lubavitch could fulfill. The latest number that I've heard is that they are now the majority of synagogues in America. Is Chabad, outdoing the Reform.
What do you mean, make Philadelphia Eretz Yisrael?
Machta, how did he say it? Who speaks Yiddish? Machta Philadelphia Eretz Yisrael. Machta Marrakesh. In other words, do your mitzvahs and do your Jewish work and help Jews where you are locally. That's what he was saying.
Specifically, if we go back to Jews, this is where Israel comes in. Just to have a place that you have that kind of support. People who, let's say, face like some sort of anti-Semitism wherever they live, often end up coming to Israel. And this is a main driver. I mean, I've heard from people's stories.
It's one of them for sure. It's for sure. But we're talking about grown-ups that would go to the Rebbe and say, we want a bracha to make aliyah, and he didn't give it to them.
Well, that was for shluchim. That was for people who were
all kinds of people,
but even just regular people,
all kinds of people, and it was devastating because you're supposed to listen to him.
Yeah, but things are different now. I think. I mean, when we came here, I came here 43 years ago. Like there was Chabad, the 770 house on the way to Modi'in.
No, but the Rebbe's whole idea was not to leave any one Jew behind.
Right. But on the other hand, within a mile of where we're sitting, I think there are probably 4 and maybe more Chabad rabbis.
To continue to build Chabad wherever, however, with whatever resources, for sure, whether it's here in Harmon, wherever we are, or whether it's in Philly or Marrakesh or whatever it is. That part is clear. I'm talking about someone who wants to leave
America, or
Paris, or many different places worldwide, and the boss did not give them a blessing to go.
And you still trust? You trust him?
Who, me?
Yeah.
The Lubavitcher Rebbe?
Yeah.
He's not really in the world. If your question is, do I still think everything that he did and does and continues to do from wherever he is valid?
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
I would suggest that it's, as I said, a matter of timing. Like he had, his vision was sort of Ruach HaKodesh, but of what the prophets had. Not only could he see the present and the ultimate future, but he could see the intermediate times, which is, not easy. And so I would say that if he told somebody to stay behind, that's the same with, Lahavdil for Jeremiah, for Yirmiyahu. He told the Israelites, get out of here, forget about the temple and go to Babylon. And he was speaking on behalf of God.
So you're saying so is the Rebbe, right? Are you saying
that's my impression? That's my impression.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
If he tells you Machta, Philadelphia, it's because it's in your best interest.
Your friend who was here last week, the heavy rocker, what? Yechi Zaken. He has a great opinion of America because he has kids there who are, I guess, doing really well, and he sort of said that if somebody makes Aliyah, it's not primarily out of self-interest. It's because they have a greater interest at heart, which is, let's say, the interest of the Jewish people.
Of course.
But that's quite a dramatic thing to say. It's like.
But for some of us, it's totally, totally visceral.
Yeah, right.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's in you. You feel it. You are happy in it. It's home. It's all that.
Great. Well, I wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you so
for
much.
MyPart. And you're doing your part.
Yeah.
And
That's what they say all the time.
About.
I'm doing my part. Are you?
Yeah, that's right. And they say also that you make a living from what you get, and you make a life from what you give.
Oh, so, nice, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that.
Thanks. Shkoyach.
Shkoyach. All right, Ariel, you're in big trouble. That's all I could tell you.